Awesome. Welcome everybody. Welcome to yet another session of the Kubestronaut Check-in. My name is Mumshad Manambeth, and today we have some really exciting updates for you. Kubernetes, the CKA certification was recently updated, so we have a number of updates about that. We also have Kristoff, who's the CNCF lead, who'll be joining us today, and we also have some fun updates for you, some additional resources to help you through the certification journey. And I'm going to talk about that in a bit. So let's get started. All right. So first off, I want to congratulate some of those who have recently cleared their certification. So Deepak recently cleared the CKAD certification. So congratulations, Deepak. Enoch also completed his CKAD certification. So congratulations to Enoch. Vijay Shankar recently completed the CKAD certification. We have Carla, who's also completed the CKAD certification. So congratulations to both of you. We have Khaled Maher, who's completed his CKA certification. So congratulations to Khaled. Rohit Singha has completed the CKAD certification. So congratulations to Rohit. We have Sonendra Kumar, who's also completed the CKAD certification. So I think everyone's studying off their ear with the CKAD, which is awesome. So congratulations, Sonendra. We have Anubhav Deep, who's completed the CKA. So congratulations to Anubhav. We have Moad, who's completed the CKA. So congratulations. Melis, who's completed the KCSA certification. Congratulations to Melis. Just a reminder that CodeCloud is a silver sponsor of KubeCon Europe. So we're going to be there. All of our team, our training department, trainers, as well as others are going to be there. So first week of April, if you happen to be in London, definitely register for KubeCon, and we'd love to meet you in person. For those of you who are in India, we have the KubeCon India happening, and the dates are 6th and 7th August. And the call for proposal is on, and it's going to be closed by 23rd March. So use the opportunity to submit your talk. I've submitted mine, and I'm hoping that it's going to be selected. But just a reminder for you all to submit your talk. This is a very good opportunity for you to build your skills in sharing your knowledge, public speaking, and networking and connecting with people. So definitely an opportunity to give back, and I would definitely recommend everyone to submit their proposal. So we're going to have Kristoff, who's going to come in a little bit later into the call. So do stay. If you have any questions for the Cloud Native Training and Certification Lead on any certifications, please drop in the comments below, and we're going to ask Kristoff. I do have some questions myself. All right, so just a reminder that we had started the Kubestronaut cohort in January. It's been 2 months now. The first part is where we've started with the CKA. This is for those who have a little bit of experience. And we had the part 2, which started with the KCNA. So by now, those who are on part 2 should be close to completing their KCNA certification. So I'm going to talk about that. So if you're on path 1, if you've been going through CKA, I would say you should be there 70 to 80% by now. So at 28th Feb, by now you should have completed section 7. And within by the next month or so, you should be able to complete the remaining sections on networking, design and install, troubleshooting, and mock exams. For those who are on part 2, by now you should be close to 100% completion. So you're just left with the last section, which is observability, application delivery, and mock exams. So within the next 2 weeks, those who are going through the KCNA certification, you should aim to complete the preparation and attempt the certification. All right, so I want to introduce something new to all of you. Today we're launching our new Notes app. So if you go to notes.codecloud.com, let me share that. You should be able to see a documentation page. So one of the challenge that you have been sharing so far is an easy access to the text format of the content that we have. So most of our courses are video, we have labs, but we've been asking for something that you can take away, that you can easily copy and paste code from, etc., code or command. And sometimes most of our content is in a presentation format, and it's not easy to copy stuff out of it, right? And sometimes there are issues with formatting, stuff like that, when we export it into a PDF. And this ideally should be able to solve that. So the goal for this project is for all of to be the central repository where all the notes from all of our courses will be available in a searchable format, and you should be able to copy code as is from here. So for now, we just have 4 courses. So this is it's in beta mode. So if there are any issues, please do let us know. But we've just started with the Kubernetes courses, and very soon we're going to add all of our other courses here in batches. So this will go exactly similar to what we have in our actual course. So it's a direct export of whatever we have in the course itself. So I'm going to use this going forward to walk through some of the course contents. And this is one that you can easily bookmark in your browser and while you're learning. And we're going to be building a lot more integrations as part of this to make it more easier for you to be able to bookmark certain areas. But yeah, for now, you should be able to copy, paste commands, code, everything from here. So going back to my deck, as we spoke about 2 weeks back, the CKA exam has undergone some changes, major changes, I would say. And on February 18th, Tuesday, last week, it got updated, and now there are new topics that needs to be learned and practiced to attend the exam. So let's go over what those are and look at it in a bit more detail. By the way, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask in the chat. So the first section on cluster architecture, installation, and configuration. This accounts for about 25% of the exam topics. As you can see, there's new stuff added and some information removed. So this is from the official curriculum. So version upgrade on a Kubernetes cluster using kubeadm and implementing etcd backup and restore. Some of these seem to have been removed, and we now have Helm and customize, understanding extension interfaces like CNI, CSI, CRI, and also CRDs, custom resource definitions, installing and configuring operators. So these topics have been added. So some of the information, like if you've been preparing for the past few months, you can assume that some information or some questions around upgrade or etcd backup and restore may not be there. I don't know. I'm guessing it's not going to be there. And then instead, you can expect questions more around Helm, customize, and other topics. The next section is around workloads and scheduling. One of the major change here, there's only addition here, and this is around workload autoscaling. So we now have the horizontal pod autoscaler and vertical pod autoscaler, and you should be able to find both of these in the course. So I'm just going to use this for now, but if you search in the course, you should be able to find the same information. So all of the contents that are new for the 2025 updates will be marked by marked with a 2025 updates tag in the beginning of the title, right? So this is about horizontal pod autoscaler, and this is in the application lifecycle management section of the course. So we have a couple of lectures that are newly added. So this one about introduction to autoscaling. Here you can see we talk about horizontal autoscaling, vertical autoscaling, what they are, and then we dive in a little bit deep into what each of these are and how it works in a bit more detail. So this is available in the course right now, and there are some labs as well associated with this with these sections. And if you're in the notes and if you want to watch the video, you can click on it and it'll take you directly to the video. And if there's a lab associated with it, you should be able to see a link that will directly take you to the lab too. So very easy for you to navigate. So this is about auto scaling. And then the other topic that we just spoke about was speak about Helm and Customize. Yes, Helm and Customize. So these should be available as well towards the end of the course. So there are a few sections that are entire sections added with the name 2025 updates. And there is one around Helm basics, and there's another one on Customize basics. So these are, again, new sections that are added to the course. Cool. So going back to the topics, the next one is around troubleshooting. And if comparing the curriculum, we see that there's something about network services, troubleshooting network services, and networking. So I think we had already covered a number of labs and exercises around troubleshooting networking. But just know that there may be some additional emphasis there. Next one is services and networking, and here we have one of the major addition now is network policies. So we had this before, I guess, with the CKAD exam 2. So there's a new section on network policies. So it's definitely important to get good with defining network policies, understanding what policy to use where, how do you define policies to enable traffic from one namespace to the other, etc. Another major addition to this section is Gateway API to manage ingress traffic. So we already had ingress in the course, and now one of the bigger additions to that is Gateway API. So just search for that. So there should be a section around Gateway API. So we start with ingress, where we left off with ingress, and then we discuss what are the limitations with ingress and how Gateway API kind of solves for those. And then we dive into exactly how a Gateway API is created. So there's we actually talk a lot about why do we need Gateway API? I think that's the first thing that we'll try to understand. And then once we understand why we need a Gateway API, then we talk about how to create a gateway class, how to create a gateway, how to create HTTP route, and we talk about all of that. And then I guess towards the end of that, there's also a lab. So there's also a new lab that helps you practice creating gateway configurations. All right. Next, we have implementing storage classes and dynamic volume provisioning. I guess that's something we already had in the course before. So I don't think there's anything too important here. It should be exactly whatever we had in the course. So know that as of now, the CKA course on Code Cloud and in wherever else you're accessing it from is fully updated with all the new content and the labs. And we have also updated the mock exams to include the new questions. So if you go to the Ultimate CKA mock exam series, which has 5 mock exams, I think as we speak, 4 of them have been updated with the new topics, and the one is pending update, which is going to happen, which is happening as we speak. Most likely will be done by today. But at least the first 4 of them should have the new topics. So go ahead and check it out and let us know what do you think. All right, so we also have the leaderboard, and we can see a lot of you have made a lot of progress. Just going here. So we have about 500 plus people going through the course. Almost 45 have already completed the course. About 120 have already completed the certification. So congratulations to all of them. But as you can see here, a lot of you are very near to completing the course. But what is expected as of now is about, you should be at least 70 to 80% complete. And I see a lot of you are well beyond 80% completed. So awesome job. So keep going. And one of the hacks I would say is to book your exams whenever you can. Now, we had stopped entry to the cohort at the end of January. So we're going to start a new cohort in April. So that'll be cohort number 2. So if you are new here and you want to join the cohort and learn together, go to the landing page. We'll put a link in the description below, and sign up to the waiting list. And when we start the new cohort in April, you can be part of the cohort. So what does a cohort offer? We have these bi-weekly check-in sessions. We also have a Discord channel where we all get together, and we have teaching assistants and other trainers and myself there, where we often exchange information. So definitely try to join the cohort to gain access to these channels. So the next check-in session will be on 6th March. And the goal is by then, for those who are in the CKA path, to complete the networking and design and install phases of the course. And then for those who are in the second path, to actually complete the KCNA certification. So those who have started KCNA, this is a good time to book your exams, prepare through the mock exams, and start getting certified. So this is one of my biggest hacks. Go ahead and book your exam. So I have my exam booked in a couple of days, so I'll let you know how that goes. Yeah, this would be a good time to book your exams, because I guess in March there's going to be, because everyone's going to trying to get certified in March. So I don't know how many slots are going to be available. But yeah, definitely use the opportunity to book your exam early. That way you kind of force yourself, and you don't have any other option to other than to get certified. Cool. So I think that's those are some of the quick updates. Now I'd like to welcome Kristoff in to take questions from you and answer some of the questions that I have. Hey, Kristoff, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Mumshad. Really happy to be here.
Awesome. So would you like to, maybe we start with a quick round of introduction for those of you who don't know who you are? Maybe would you like to take a minute to tell us who you are?
Sure. So my name is Christophe Sauthier. I currently live in Montreal in Canada, but I'm French. I come from France. I am the training and certification lead for the CNCF, and I'm doing that for the last 2 years now. In just a few days, it will be 2 years since I joined the CNCF. But I've been involved in professional open source for my whole life, let's say. So for more than 20 years, I had some various roles, both as a community member. I have been an official Ubuntu developer for at least 5 or 6 years. Something like 20 years ago, I was I had the right to some commit rights in the repo. It was an amazing time. But I also led part of the Ubuntu community and the local community. I was elected to this council. I've been really involved in the OpenStack community too. I've created one of the official OpenStack project myself, and I've been doing also some professional stuff. I was a couple of years ago, I've started and run a company in France where we're helping entities to move to cloud and cloud native, but only on open source technologies. And training and certification was really important for me and for all my team. It was something like 1/3 of the revenue. I was giving training myself. I was creating training myself, and I was really involved in that in my day-to-day activities. And when I saw, so time goes on, and at some point I saw the possibility and the role from the CNCF, and so I said, oh, that's for me. So that's why I jump in, something like, as I said, 3 years ago.
Awesome. So I guess, so just so everyone knows, like, you're the guy responsible for the all the certifications that, like, we're kind of breaking our head to for months, right? So I guess one of the direct questions I have, like, why do you make our lives so hard? So why update and change the certification from time to time? Now we've got to update our courses, and then now we have to unlearn some things and relearn new things, and now the exam format is completely changed, and it's gotten really hard. So help us understand, why do you do that? Why don't you just leave the exam as is?
Okay, so yes, that's true. As you said, so my daily job is to work on the training and the certs for the CNCF, and everything which is related to that. So I am deciding with some other peers from the CNCF what new courses we'll build, what new certification we will launch, and also which certification we are updating. And speaking of that, yes, you just explained the various changes we did to CKA, and actually, you feel it's something that is complicated. I know you're teasing me, but I think it's something that which is really important. We are always putting some emphasis on that the technology is evolving, and so the certification need to evolve. You just mentioned, by instance, that okay, we had some stuff related to Elm. Okay, because when you are running, as I said, before taking this role, I've been really involved in doing a lot of deployments to myself. I was helping some big companies, to move and to use Kubernetes, and we were using Elm on a daily basis. So why don't we find that on our exam? And let's take some other elements. 5 years ago, when you wanted to, or 6 or 7 years ago, when you wanted to deploy Kubernetes, you had way less help from your cloud provider. But today, most of the people will use the product that are provided by the various cloud providers they're using. So maybe we should put less stress on how to use kubeadm, which is still useful, and more on the how to use the various elements. Is it that important to know how to back up your etcd when you don't have access to etcd anymore because everything is hidden by your cloud provider? So the certification need to adapt itself to the new reality, and that's what we did. And that's why we also introduced Gateway API, which is an amazing tool that today is replacing a lot ingress in many cases. So that's the evolution we have completed. You mentioned that CKA has evolved, but CKS evolved to a few months ago, and CKD too. And so we try to update everything.
Yeah, great. So a few really good points there. What you mentioned about how it's changing, right? Like, I guess in the past, like maybe a few years ago, deploying with kubeadm, that was way more important. But I guess with all the cloud providers coming up with their own kind of managed services, managed Kubernetes service, I guess there are other things that are a lot more important right now. And exactly as you said, how you back up and restore with etcd. Like sometimes you don't even have access to etcd, so how are you going to back up and restore? So how is that changing? Like, let's say the life of a Kubernetes administrator, somebody managing Kubernetes. Like what do you think has changed maybe in the past like few years?
As I said, I think today, when you are managing Kubernetes, you need to have a bigger relation. You need to have more knowledge of the cloud environment you are running on, because okay, that's great. You have the Kubernetes permissions, perfect, but how is it linked to your underneath cloud provider? And each cloud provider has its own bindings. You need to modify this config map, or you need to change that in this API. And okay, so you need to have this knowledge. So Kubernetes is something that you need to know, but at some point you will also need to get some basic, let's say, understanding and basic knowledge of cloud technologies and the cloud provider you're using. I really think this is one of the most important thing that I will keep in mind when I want to start my Kubernetes journey, is that okay, and don't get me wrong, I think KubeADM is a terrific tool. I think you still need to know how to use it, because it will show you many stuff that you might not have some knowledge at the beginning. When you're first deploying using KubeADM, and you realize that you have all those certificates and that you need to rotate those certificates and so on. At some point, if you are just using some cloud provider, this is something which will be hidden. Okay, I can live with that. But when you want to know more about the product, when you want to go one step further, getting back to some, let's say, less magical tools is something which is really helpful.
Yeah, makes sense. So let's see how if there are any questions from the community. Let's go around and look at what we have. So I guess so. There are some very basic questions. And I think that may be important to highlight too for some people, especially those who are new to this space. So the question is Linux Foundation the official exam evaluator for Kubernetes? Most respected, recognized certification exams.
Okay, so yes, the short answer is yes. Let me explain that to you a bit. I'm sure many of the people who are attending here are aware of that, but CNCF, so Cloud Native Computing Foundation, is part of the Linux Foundation. As I said, I work for the CNCF, but actually my contract is with the Linux Foundation. So I work for the Linux Foundation and I'm full-time CNCF employee. That's how the Linux Foundation works. We have some people who are working at the Linux Foundation itself, and some other which are dedicated for one of the sub-foundation, what we call a project internally. So CNCF is a project from the Linux Foundation. And yes, Kubernetes is an official project from the CNCF. So it is an official project from the Linux Foundation at some point. And the trademark is owned by, on the word Kubernetes, and everything related to that is owned by the Linux Foundation. It's not because we are working on the open source world that there is no trademark or copyright and everything like that. No. And actually, I think people in this world, we are more attached to the respect of those copyrights, because basically when you're writing a software and that you are giving all the content to the community, just having the respect of this, of the few constraints you put, is the only thing you are asking. So people are sometimes, want to have that to be enforced. And so Kubernetes is an official project from the Linux, is a trademark from the Linux Foundation. And so all the official exam with Kubernetes are from the Linux Foundation. So CKA is one of them, and CKS, KD, KCNA, and KCSA are so far the exam from the Linux Foundation that we have.
Yeah.
So yes, and speaking of the respect and recognition, I am receiving countless email from people telling me, hey, I just got this certification. He helped me get a new job. He helped me get a better job, or a pay raise, or to be recognized inside my company, to be able to prove stuff, because now people show a recognition and show that a recognition for my knowledge. So that's really what is important here.
Yeah, very interesting. So I think there are a couple of things there. One is, I guess, the link between the relationship between Linux Foundation and CNCF. I'm not sure if everyone is super clear. So I guess it's important to maybe share that. Like from my understanding, so originally Linux Foundation is the original entity, right? And Linux Foundation is what took Linux and a lot of other projects open source, and is the kind of the supporter, sponsor, organizer of a lot of open source projects that we know today. This could be popular projects like PyTorch or Node.js and Express, and the Linux kernel itself and things like that. And it's backed by almost every company in the world, right? Like a lot of company in the world are like sponsors and supporters of Linux Foundation. So that's how they get funded, and then they use that to support a lot of these very popular open source projects. So if you just go to Linux Foundation and go to projects, you'll be able to see hundreds of these projects and tools that we use on a day-to-day basis. You might not have an idea, but it's ultimately it's most likely supported by the Linux Foundation. So that's what the Linux Foundation does. And I guess when Docker and containers came about, about a decade ago, that's when they formed this cloud native group called Cloud Native Computing Foundation, and that looks after all the cloud native projects. And right now, there are a lot of projects that you can see, which are again supported by a lot of other companies, including the big players and the big tech players, as well as even smaller companies like us, right? Like we are also a Linux Foundation and CNCF sponsor. So yeah, I think that's kind of the relationship between Linux Foundation and CNCF and this whole ecosystem, which I think is very important for everyone to be aware of.
I fully agree with you. And this is something that I think will be more and more important today. We see that many countries are having some concerns about, how to use correctly their money and how to, many countries are starting to be more centered around them, but the technology is not. And at some point, a foundation like the Linux Foundation is a place where you can put a project and be sure that this project will be developed in a purely community way. It will be community driven. And that's what happened with Kubernetes. And so Google gave the trademark of Kubernetes to the Linux Foundation, telling them, okay, please do something with that. And that's why the CNCF has been created. And why do we create some separated, some different sub-foundation? Because it would be such a mess if everything was under the same umbrella of the Linux Foundation directly. Imagine we were having Kubernetes, but PyTorch and the Linux kernel just under the Linux Foundation. It will be a mess. So having some dedicated sub-foundation is something which is helpful to create some ecosystem here. And you mentioned, and we just said, Kubernetes was the first one, but today there are more than 200 projects under the CNCF. And those projects are really in the same ecosystem. They're aiming to the same goal. And it is created and it's been made possible because of, like you said, the developers, but also the company that are supporting us. CloudCloud is one of them for sure, and that's really important for us. And we really value every type of company. And okay, obviously CloudCloud is smaller than some other companies, but it's not important. We are all into the same company and into the same ecosystem and the same community, and every voice is important. And that's why one of the reasons I'm here today too.
Awesome. So one of the things you mentioned is students getting certified and letting you know that they've got their certification, got a job. I mean, tell us a little bit more about that. Like, what do you think is the impact to people on getting certified, and like because you have so much visibility, you probably have a lot of insight, numbers about like how many people get certified, and what happens. Companies using CNCF to get their training, their people trained, and use the projects and things like that. Tell us a little bit about like the impact of certifications on individuals.
Okay, so you have two questions here. One is how many people are getting certified, and the other, what is the impact for those people? We don't have a public number of how many people are successfully getting certified, because we don't give the number of how many people are failing an exam. But the public number we are providing is how many people have registered for an exam. It doesn't mean they have passed it, but it means they registered it. CKA is the most successful one, obviously. The last number I've seen, I think, was more than 250,000 people registered for CKA. So that's a lot over the time. So yes, that's a lot. For the recognition, yes, I have a couple of insights here. Two different things I would like to mention. One is, okay, we're discussing here with something related to Kubestronaut. So last year, a couple of months after the launch of the Kubestronaut program, I have contacted Kubestronaut asking them, okay, the fact that you became a Kubestronaut, has it give you something? Did you get anything from that? And about the 2/3 of the Kubestronaut told me that he had a direct impact on that job, whether they had a new job or a pay raise. So that's something. And I mean, it wasn't just a couple of answers. I think there was something like, at the time, I think I had something like 150 answers. So out of 150, about 100 Kubestronaut told me, yes, it had a direct impact on my daily job. So that is something which is really interesting. And I think when I say something like that, all of the people that are listening to us today that are part of the cohort should start smiling and studying more tonight, because it should give you some motivation here. Actually, doing such a survey is something that I plan to do again soon. And I would be happy to give you the elements so that you can just share that with the in a new episode. Another thing I like to mention, it is something that has been brought to us, I think, almost 2 years ago. I see in the chat here many people saying hello from this country or this country. This is amazing, and this is something I love from the community, that you have everyone from various places. I just saw someone from Quebec. I live in Montreal, so really happy. If you want to move to work in China, you need to have some kind of work permit. And even if you want to move from one place to another place in China, you need to have a work permit that allows you to do that. And so to get this work permit, you need to have some points. And apparently, we've been told that CKA gives you enough points to be able to have that, to get that. It was true a couple of I think last year or something. So that's really, I think a good recognition of how those certifications are valued by others than just us.
Yeah, that's amazing. I didn't know that. That's we should start publicizing that. I'm sure like there are other countries too that probably have some of these certifications. Like when I apply for jobs in foreign countries, I often see and I always put my certifications out there, and I think that definitely has an impact. So yeah, that's great to hear. Now that's about the individuals, but I'm not sure if you have insights into this. But like, what about corporates and companies who are either training their employees, or maybe do you think they look at certifications as and when they kind of filter their when they filter their candidates, or what impact do you think companies have on certifications?
I'm sure companies are looking at that. I'm sure of that. I said that earlier. I was running my own company at some point, so it was a small service company. I started it alone, but at the end we were about 35 or something. When I was receiving a resume, obviously I was looking at the certification, and I really mean certification. I don't mean, okay, I took this LinkedIn course and that's it. No. Okay, everybody can do that. But a certification, and especially the kind of certification that we have at CNCF and Linux Foundation, which are always structured. And we are all ranting from time to time when you have to clear the room and everything. I know that. I've done that myself. Oh yeah, I haven't said that, but a long time ago, I have passed CKA, CKD, CKS myself. So I've been there too. And I know we all rant because we need to clear the room. We need to tell the kids, okay, please be quiet for 2 hours because I'm taking an exam. Please don't enter the room and everything. But this is exactly what makes the value of the exam. And that's why we want to keep the proctoring. We want to keep all of that kind of things, because if there's no such thing, there is no value behind. And so yes, companies are looking at that. Some companies are always asking for CKA, CKD, and I'm sure we will see more and more companies asking that in the role post about that. Sure. Obviously. There is no, I don't have numbers about that, but no, we see that on a daily basis. Yes.
Nice. So maybe tell us a little bit about the exam format itself. You said you did your CKA, CKAD, and CKS too a while ago.
Yeah.
And do you know? I'm not sure, like if you had joined CNCF when the exams were originally created. At some point I would love to know the history of how it came about. But like, why the hands-on approach? Like, how did that come about? Do you know? Do you have any insights into how that came about, and why are they even hands-on in the first place?
I wasn't part of the CNCF at that time, but we are all technical lovers, and CNCF has been created by people who deeply love technology and who are people who like to do stuff. I'm reporting to Chris and Czech, and he's the CTO of the CNCF, and he was one of the first. He was one of those who said, "Okay, we need to do that. We need to do that." And I mean, Chris he's not someone who just write Excel spreadsheet and everything. He's someone who do stuff, and he has led many teams in various companies. He has really a very, very deep technical knowledge, and we all know that having a practical experience is needed, and that's where you will really prove stuff. And so that's why they decided to do that, because that's what we love to do. And Chris is a geek, so he don't. That's why, and that's really something that we all have in mind when we are doing an exam. Yeah, I just saw a message on the chat, and I just want to react to that.
Sure.
Don't be scared, because we are not focusing on cloud provider for the exam. That was a question about that. We are not focusing on cloud provider. Thanks for that. It's not alarming. It's just that's the reality. We are not really relying on the exam on each. We won't tell you use this tool from this cloud provider. Never.
Yeah.
We won't do that. We have, at the CNCF, we have a deep principle, which is to be vendor neutral. So we will never put that in an exam. We will never say use this one or use this one. No, it's not possible.
Yeah.
So no, and so that's why you will still have the core understanding, but you will have a different knowledge, the core understanding, and a knowledge of how to use some different tools. That's all.
Yeah. So I think the question may have come from our discussion earlier around, I think the kubeadmin going and things like that. But
Absolutely.
I think, yeah. So I guess the message there was that there may be more like managed Kubernetes clusters that people are relying on more these days. So, some of the very like basic stuff, like maybe backing up etcd data store, something may not necessarily be something that you might do often, because you may be relying on an external service that already takes care of all of that, right?
Yes.
So,
and I'm not saying we will remove that. I'm just saying
yeah,
that instead of, let's say, having 3 questions on backing up etcd,
yeah,
maybe you will just have 1, and you
yeah,
will get some question on Elm or something like that. So
yeah.
it's not completely, it's not removing them. No, it won't happen. It's just that
Okay.
we realize and we know that some stuff have less impact on your daily work. That's all.
Awesome. Now, tell us about what's coming up. Like, what do we look up to in the future? What are the future plans? There was one question about Kubestronaut. So, just in case someone's not aware, so Kubestronaut, you become a Kubestronaut when you get like all 5 Kubernetes certifications. So that's the CKA, CKAD, CKS, KCNA, and KCSA. But I guess we have something more exciting that may be coming up, which we heard about in the past KubeCon. But yeah, I would love to hear it from straight from you, Kristoff. So what's the fun and exciting stuff that's coming up?
Yes. So Kubestronauts is, first of all, an amazing program. I'm not saying that only because I'm managing it, but I really believe it.
You're not biased.
No,
It's an
not at all,
unbiased
not at all,
opinion.
not at all, not at all. So as you said, you become a Kubestronaut when you successfully pass the 5 certification related to Kubernetes that we have at the CNCF, CKA, CKD, CKS, KCNA, KCSA. We wanted to create the program to be able to recognize people who have this knowledge. We feel, and Chris and myself included at the CNCF, that we have an amazing community of people, but we don't bring enough recognition to the people who have some knowledge. We have a lot of recognition for the people who write code, and obviously we need developers, we need maintainers. They are doing a tremendous work, and that's really hard to do. We have some recognition for people who are, what we say, chop wood, sorry, and all this kind of thing. And we need that. But when you take some time to learn something and to have some certification and to pass some certification related to your knowledge, you need to have some recognition too. And that's why we wanted to create this program. And so that's what we did. Kubestronaut was announced at KubeCon Paris a bit less than last year. It was in March, I think, last year in Paris, and at the end of March, yes. And it was amazing. The reaction of the community has been just amazing. We have more than 1,290 Kubestronauts today. We are adding about 30 to 35 new Kubestronauts each week, and I'm sending an email to all of them each week, so
Okay.
I know that. So that's amazing. And by the way, I know this is a question that some people are asking sometime. I saw that in the chat too. What is the advantage of taking KCNA and KCSA if you already have CKA, CKD, and CKS? Yes, KCNA and KCSA can be seen as easier certification, that's for sure, because they are just multiple choices questions. But honestly, if you take KCSA, you will be surprised, because it's not only about securing Kubernetes, it's really about the security of the overall ecosystem, with some theory and some principle that really will help you to have a better understanding of what security is and how to secure your overall environment. I really think, and that's where I'm heading, the cloud native ecosystem changed in the last 5 years, let's say. Initially, it was Kubernetes and Kubernetes. And as I said, we now have more than 200 projects, so which are official projects from the CNCF. So there is a shift. Kubernetes is still a masterpiece. It's still at the center of most of the things. But when you want to build an application, when you want to build an environment, you will use Kubernetes in coordination with other projects. And so we are putting some emphasis into that with the creation of the Golden Kubestronaut, which is a new program we announced Golden Kubestronaut a couple of months ago. It was in KubeCon India. I heard earlier you mentioned the CFP for KubeCon India, for this year KubeCon India. Honestly, if you have the chance to be there, go. KubeCon India last year in December in New Delhi was just amazing. The passion was just terrific. It was an amazing experience. So if you have the chance to be there, do it. And so we announced Golden Kubestronaut during last KubeCon India in December. What it is, it's the next level of recognition. I'm not sure we'll create more level of recognition for the month, to be clear, but that's the next step. So Golden Kubestronaut is a title that will be granted for anyone who will have all the CNCF certification plus LFCS. So right now we have 13 certification at the Linux at the CNCF plus LFCS. Some people are asking, why do you add LFCS here? Because I think we will all agree that most of the cloud native environment rely on Linux technologies. So having a Linux certification here makes a lot of sense to us. If you take CKS, honestly, it's not that simple for sure, but you need to have some Linux knowledge. So putting some, let's say, certification in front of this knowledge, we felt it was a good thing. So yes, it will be, for the moment, for the Golden Kubestronaut, all the 13 certification from the CNCF plus LFCS. And I really insist on for the moment, because you know that we are adding from time to time new certification. And so when some new certification will be launched, and we will be able to discuss that after if you want, we will add those to the requirements for Golden Kubestronaut. And of course, when you become a Golden Kubestronaut, you will get some new benefits. One of the benefits, and
Don't tell me it's a golden jacket. Is that a golden jacket?
No, it won't be a golden jacket, because
Okay.
it's not convenient to wear, a jacket on top of another jacket. No, we will have some nice stuff like a backpack. We thought about a cape, which will be, because you are, some kind of super
Yeah.
certified guy. But we weren't really happy with the things we found as a cape. It wasn't really some great quality. So we are aiming to something different than the cape. But
Yeah.
yes, it will be something nice.
Yeah.
The benefits and everything will be announced next week, hopefully. I'm really working hard on that. But the thing I want to stress out is, we understand and we really value that becoming a Golden Kubestronaut is hard, because passing 14 certification, 13 CNCF plus LFCS is hard. So once you become a Golden Kubestronaut, you will be a Golden Kubestronaut for life. So it means that you will get most of the benefits for life. So
Awesome.
because, okay, we see, okay, that it's something, to become that will be something hard. So yes. And I'm all ears about all the ideas you might have. People send me some email. The helmet, honestly, was an idea. An astronaut helmet was an idea. It was, to be honest, our initial idea, that the initial idea we had, but we felt it was something you put that was good to be on your shelf, but we want a Kubestronaut or a golden Kubestronaut to be recognized wherever you go. And honestly, you have no idea how happy I am when I'm going into a conference and I see someone wearing the blue jacket from the Kubestronaut. This is so cool. So we want to be able to recognize and people to be recognized wherever they go. So the helmet was a bit complicated for that. So we have some other idea. Yes.
So one question I have about the Golden Kubestronaut. So you said 13 certifications, but is there a time period? Like, do they need to be active or?
Yes, they need to be active. They need to be active.
Okay.
For the moment, we said that they need to be active. Maybe we will just change that. But honestly, some people are getting
already,
it. Yeah. We already have some Golden Kubestronaut. The program is not announced yet. It's not announced yet. But yes, I see something here which is really interesting in the chat. The last question was if we can extend the validity of the exam for 5 years. There is a mention of a bundle here. We don't plan to extend some validity of bundle of stuff like that for 5 years, but we are, and I'm actively working on the recertification program, because this is something we've heard a lot from the community and from the Kubestronaut. How about the recertification? Because, and I understand that it's complicated to recertify every 2 years. And especially if you aim at becoming a golden Kubestronaut, it takes a lot of time and money to recertify. So we are working actively on that part. And this is something that we plan to announce at KubeCon London. We will have we will ease the recertification process.
Okay, that's really good to hear, because I think that's one of the questions I've often heard too. So if you're already certified, how hard or easy is it going to be to get recertified? So
yes, we have many ideas. We have many leads. We are exploring them right now. And yes, it will be announced at KubeCon London. That's my goal.
So I guess the last question. So Christophe said, if you're a golden Kubestronaut, you're a golden Kubestronaut for life, right?
Yes. Yes. And really golden Kubestronaut, not Kubestronaut.
Got it.
If you're a Kubestronaut, you need to renew your certification. If you're a golden Kubestronaut, you will still be a golden Kubestronaut for life. And there are some benefits that you will get every year for life.
Awesome.
And I mean, like as I said, I think we currently have 15 people who are already already met the requirements to be a golden Kubestronaut.
Yeah, awesome, cool. So I guess that's it for today. Well, thank you so much, Kristoff, for your time. Really appreciate it. Would love to have you here in the future too. Whenever you have updates, do come in and let us know. But thank you so much for being here, and I really appreciate your time.
It was really a real pleasure to be here. Whenever you want, please, I would be happy to join you again. And if you have any questions and that you have not been able to ask, please ping me at Slack, email. I prefer email, to be honest. My Slack application is like a Christmas tree with a lot of notifications. So if you want an answer, it's better to send me an email usually.
So how can people reach out to you? Like maybe LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn. I usually answer, sometimes with delay, but I usually answer. Slack also. Slack for sure, or email. And I'm receiving email to kubestronaut@cncf.io too. So
Okay. Awesome.
You can just reach out to me, and happy to answer. But thanks a lot for doing that. I really think the cohort is an amazing idea, and you know how I appreciate your courses too. So that's cool.
Thank you. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. As you heard from Kristoff, there's a lot that I hope some of these conversations are motivational. So work at it. Let's keep going, and let's make sure this cohort ends with a lot of Kubestronauts in the orbit. So thanks a lot for joining once again. We'll see you all in 2 weeks from now. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.